Hi, Mandy. How are you?
I'm good.
Are you excited about next week?
Yeah.
Are you staying in town or traveling?
I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to play safe right now until you all get your vaccines. You know, it's really not all gone yet. We still are in this pandemic, so.
Professor Master?
Yes, honey, I'm here.
I just wanted to let you know that Alondra is going to be unable to come to class today. She had a family emergency. She had to take one of her family members to the hospital on emergency.
Thank you for letting me know, hon. I appreciate that. And I know she already presented, so she's okay. And it's very kind of you to let me know that. I
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So we have 4 more minutes, and in all due respect to you all for joining me, I will commence promptly at 12:15. Thank you. I know it's a beautiful day. Some of you are working, but I do need to get the rest of the presentations in and to talk to you about something else. Thank you. Please know that I joined early in case someone has a question. I want you all to always feel comfortable in asking me questions before or after we close the session. And you know you can always reach me by email or by my cell phone.
Professor, would you mind giving us your cell phone number again?
Yeah, I thought I'd have it on the syllabus. It's 773-354-3182. If you see I don't answer the phone, it's because I'm either in class or in a meeting, and text me and I'll get back
Thank you
to
so much.
Okay. Yes, because sometimes your name may not appear in my directory, but if you text me, I will know, and to just mention the course you're in, and I will definitely get
So
back to you.
would you prefer a text message then?
Yes, and you can always email me, but sometimes I don't open the email except morning and night. I teach time management, and I try to early in the morning and late in the evening I check my emails. And that's my way of time managing, because I do have things during the day to do. I'm also chair at another university, but it doesn't mean that I don't check. It's just that if you need immediate response, you may want to text me, and as soon as I'm done with what I'm doing, I will respond to you. Just identify your course, and then whether it's 3021, 3022, or 325. Of course, this is the 3021. So that gives me an idea as how to respond to you, because some of your like 3021 may be ahead of 3022, so I will know how to respond to you in terms of inquiry regarding assignments or so. But please know, I always want you to have not just my cell number, but you have my email, and you know that I am available for you. And you're never ever feel that you have asked me too many questions. Anything you need for clarification, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And we will commence in half a minute, and people will be joining us as we continue to talk. I hope those that did present still know they have to meet with us today, and those that have been excused for emergencies, I've heard from them. So let's go with Latoya. Will you be ready to be the first to present, honey? Are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I'm fine. You want me to go first?
Okay, honey. All right, sure. Let's give it a half a minute to be true to everyone, okay? And then I can make you the presenter, the co-presenter. Okay, Latoya, I have made you the co-presenter. So if you want to start working on your
Okay, so do I hit present on here?
Yes, I did make you the co-host.
So
Let's just share your screen.
Yeah, we'll walk you through it. Your classmates will too. Just so take your time, because now you're the co-presenter.
can you guys see it?
Not yet.
Not yet. So Edie is there. Okay, I got it. Sure. Do you see on the right side where it says share? I don't know what kind of tablet you have or a laptop
I'm on a desktop.
or a desktop. Okay.
Latoya, so at the bottom where it says participants chat, there's a green share screen button.
Can you guys see it? Can't see it still?
No. Let's try someone else while we figure it out, Latoya. Okay, honey? So we don't keep everyone waiting, but I know you'll figure it out. I see a yellow line there, so. While we wait for Latoya, let's call on Diana. Are you ready? I know you've joined us.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so let's make you the co-host. There we go. Okay, you're now the co-host. We see your screen. Diana, we need to hear you, hon. You need to put your mic on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, I was already reading. So I decided with physical development, and I chose kindergarten, and the Illinois Learning Standard is movement skills, rules, and safety during physical activity, team building skills, principles of health promotion and prevention, and human body systems. And the objectives are students will acquire movement skills and understand concepts needed to explore their environment, support learning, and engage in health enhancing physical activity. They will be able to demonstrate physical control of small and large muscles. The concept, students will engage in active play using gross and fine motor skills. They will be able to move with balance and control in a range of physical activities, use eye-hand coordination to perform tasks, and use writing and drawing tools with some control. Students won't only be able to take control of their movements, but will be learning about their body as well. Being able to play with these matching puzzles will exercise their movement by using fine motor skills to put them together. They will also be able to dance and sing along to songs that exercise their gross motor skills, as well as teach them where their body parts are. So for my learning activities, I decided to do this matching game, which exercises their fine motor skills because they have to use smaller movements with their hands to put the puzzles together, as well as singing
Don't you
songs
what
that allow them
time
to
is supposed
sing,
to go? I don't know what time you're supposed to go.
point to their body parts, helping accommodation, modifications. Although all students are teachers' priorities, sometimes some need a little more attention. Having one-on-one sessions will
12:30
allow
now.
children to feel
Okay.
important and will also be helpful for making
It's
sure every
12:19.
student understands what's being taught. Using more pictures and less words. Some kids learn slower than others, so they may not be able to identify what is what at first glance.
make lessons less of them just sitting down and working and more getting up and being active. Students learn faster and more effectively with hands-on activities. Assessments. Since my students will only be in kindergarten, it's pretty difficult to assess them, but based on activities that I have planned, I can go through their puzzles to make sure their placement is correct. This will be done during carpet time, and I will individually meet with each child and dismiss them as they correctly solve the puzzle. This will allow me to spend a little more time with the children who are having trouble in regards to song. I can watch my students and keep an eye out for those who are still unsure of where to.
In this part, honey, if I may just add something for you, where you're sending them back, add that they will have enrichment activity to complete at their desks, and as you're sending them back, because you will be engaged with those that you're assisting individually, or those that are a little bit delayed in completing. So you do want to mention that. In your EdTPA lesson plans, you will be explaining every single move that you make. That's why it's 7 to 8 pages long. So let's get used to that. And everything else is very nice the way you have it there. But don't forget, when you decide to send children back to their desks, you should indicate that they already have work at their desk to keep them engaged. Because not every teacher will have a teacher assistant, remember.
Yeah.
The only person in that classroom, and we do want to make sure that you are noting that. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's see who goes. We have Diana that just went. She's okay, great. And then we now need Latoya. If you still need time, let me know. So
Got it.
you got it?
I think so.
Okay, let's make you the co-host.
You guys see it?
Yeah, now we see you. You have the spiders, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we got it. We got it, Latoya.
Okay, I'm presenting All About Spiders by Latoya Fuqua. And I'm doing kindergarten, 5 and 6 years of age. The concept students will be able to understand a spider life. And then I have the Illinois Early Learning Standards and in kindergarten performance expectations. Students are expected to demonstrate grade appropriate proficiency in asking questions, developing and using models, planning and carrying out investigations, analyzing and interpreting data, designing solutions, engaging in arguments from evidence, and obtaining, evaluating, and communicating information.
Okay, stop there for a minute. I will use this as a teaching moment, okay, hon? It's not a critique for you. It's for a moment of teaching. This learning standard consists of quite a few things that have to be covered, right? Let's enumerate them, okay? They will demonstrate, they will develop, they will model, so analyze, and they will ask questions, they will bring up solutions. Because this is asking so much, it's a mouthful, handful of expectations. And let's look at the second one. I will point out something important to you. Students are expected to use these practices to demonstrate understanding, which is the cognition. Very good. They will know number names and the count sequence. That's the concept too. And then they will compare numbers. That is continuous. So let's stop here for a minute. All 5 of these are heavy. So as Latoya goes through her lesson, the reason I'm doing this is so that you understand that we need to show whatever we say in the early learning standards, that we are executing it in our lesson. So I ask that we only use 2 or 3 early learning standards because it becomes overwhelming for you. However, the 2, 3, and 4 are very simple. The number 1 is a little bit, it could take a little while. So let's see if in your lesson, critique yourself. and I should do this for all of you that state your standards. The reason I do this, teachers, is because we don't want to state standards that we will not cover in the lesson, correct? You're not going to say you're going to construct this house for me with 5 bedrooms and then you only put 3. So we want to make sure, and I'm sorry that I'm using Latoya's because I forgot to mention to all of you. When, and this is for LTPA, when you select your standards, make sure that within your lesson plan, the execution of your lesson will demonstrate that you are covering those standards. Okay, remember I told you it's like this pyramid. This is what you want to cover. This is the specific of what you have to cover, and this is how you're going to cover it, and then what are your objectives, and then your strategies. So let's see, Latoya, you can analyze yourself as we are going to listen to your lesson. Thank you for allowing me to use your lesson as an example. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Objective student will be able to identify what spiders look like, identify the body parts of the spider, identify the number 2 because the spider has 2 body parts, and the number 8 because the spider have 8 legs, and the colors of spiders. There's different spiders, color spiders. Materials, construction paper, crayons or markers, sticky eyes or the wiggly eyes, cotton, use it for the way of in a video, showing all about spiders.
Okay, hold on there. Latoya, your lesson is allowing me to point out some stuff. Again, in your objectives, because you're going to have them do something, I'm noticing with your materials, sticky eyes, will they be constructing something for you there?
Yes, at the end.
So put that in your objective. Okay. Students will be putting together a spider at, they will be provided with parts of a spider, putting it together, whatever you way, but students will, that's the that's a tactile.
Whatever they want to do, I'll put that in the objective.
Put that in the objective because you said identify, but you want to identify meaning the cognition, they understand, right? Now the tactile. So this is a perfect example, and that I can demonstrate how you have another objective that you could name, because they will be putting something together using their hands, which is a tactile. Okay, it's important that I point that out. Okay, go ahead.
Learning activities, student will write the words, which kindergarten, 5 and 6 year olds can't write that good, but they're going to use the ability to write, as good enough as teachers, we can understand what they write. 3 words, 3 or 4 words are, can, and have, which we know is not going to be perfect, but the students would then place labels on each word, what the spiders are, what they can do, and what they have, stating that they have learned about the spiders.
Very good, very good.
And then this is what, example of what I came up, like spiders are born from eggs. Spiders are different colors, black and brown, can eat insects, borrow burrows, have no bones, 8 legs, 2 body parts, something that they can see, place or, look at, but at the end, move on. Accommodations, teachers will help special education students create the spiders, let them feel the cotton, because some students not able to use the fine motor skills and so on. So the teachers will be able to accommodate them by helping them or even letting them feel, because some people use these skills. Some kids like to feel things.
Definitely, especially special needs children. That tactile is extremely important for them. Autism, whether they have autism, Asperger's, it doesn't matter. And most young children like to touch and feel. So that's good.
And assessment, students will create their own spiders and label, to the best they know how, each body part of the spider.
And that's how you reward your objective. Instead of saying students will create, students will understand how to label each body part of the spider, or they will also be demonstrating that they understand the parts of a spider by the activity, blah, blah, blah. So very good. Are you done so I can make some more comments? No? I want all of you, not just Latoya, to go back on your own because it's not going to affect your grades. I'm preparing you for your education. When you look at your lesson, the way you presented to me, and I have graded a lot of all of your lessons that I already presented, which is, like I said, this is not going to affect your grade. But I want you to get used to this. You wrote your lesson, you're executing it. Now do a crosswalk and say, wow, I used the standard. Did I address the standard as I was teaching? Not address it by saying it. While I was executing this lesson, was I leading students to cover those standards? That's why I say don't put too many standards. And in the objectives, did I make sure that, like I just saw the assessment here, did I make sure that I mentioned in my objectives that students will be, because they will be able to do it and you will know that they have learned it. So you see how everything is interconnected? You do your own crosswalk. I say, wait, what am I missing? I said in the standard that they would be talking or that they will be making connections. Where in what part of my lesson did I do that? If you start doing this, teachers, you will find that when you're developing your EDPA detailed lesson plan, you will remember this. Okay, so I always use incidental teaching, and this is part of it. So I was very happy to see that I can use Latoya's to demonstrate what we mean with that, that sequential, beautiful development of a lesson standards, the skill, the objectives, and the execution of the lesson, the assessment, and the accommodations. Okay, they should all be connected. And that's what's going to make your lesson plans, because they will grade you on that when you're doing your TPA. Thank you, Latoya. We go with Yesenia here. Yesenia?
I have, sorry.
Last question. Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention, I received a text message from Ariel. She's having connection issues, and that's why she's not here right now.
Thank you, hon. Let me mark excuse for Ariel. Okay. I think I just made Yesenia. I just made you a co-host. Are you ready, Yesenia?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I just marked Ariel excuse. Thank you. I love the way you all work together and help each other by just even letting me know when a student is having a problem. I really appreciate that collaboration that you have. Go ahead, hon.
Can you see it?
Not yet, hon. Not yet. You need to go down and share.
How about now? I'm having trouble.
So, Yesenia, while you continue to try, let's have Mandy. Are you here, Mandy? Yes, Mandy Shen. Mandy, are you with us? Mandy, are you with us, please?
Yes, I am here. Yes.
Are you ready to present? We'll give Yesenia a little bit more time to connect. Are you able to present now?
Not yet.
Okay, but you will go today, right? Yes? Mandy, you will go today, right?
Can I present after spring break or no? No?
No, today was the deadline. We've given extended time, honey. I don't mean to be ever mean to anyone, but it's not fair to the other students. I have to be fair to everyone, okay? So do your very best to present today. Everyone got their lesson plans in on time, and then I gave up to today as an extension. So I know that you understand we have to be fair with everyone. Okay, so do your best to present today. let's go into, okay, so you're not ready yet. Let's wait for Yessie, are you ready, Mama? Maybe we can walk you through this.
Professor,
Yes, honey.
I'm ready to present.
Who is me? Oh, Ariel? Oh, you're with us. Good, Ariel. All right. Then we'll wait for Yesenia, okay? Good. All right. Good job. All right, go ahead, Ariel.
Okay, so I'm going to be doing a lesson plan using the Very Hungry Caterpillar. So the age range will be first grade. Usually first grade is 6 to 7 year olds. The concept, students will learn that everything changes. So, oh, I forgot to put the learning standards. Okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me look on my lesson plan. I can give you the learning standards. But one of the learning standards, this is from the science. It is showing respect for living things. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling it up on my phone.
Take your time, honey. Take your time.
Okay. 1 second, it's low. Okay, so the first one is showing respect for the living. The second one is express wonders. Let me turn my phone on. Express wonders and curiosity about the world by asking questions, solving problems, and designing things.
Okay, stop there. Stop there. Let's do the same one that we did over here. The 3 things you just mentioned, as you go through your lesson, make sure that those 3 things are covered, right? That's the crosswalk I was mentioning. So you just said 3 things will happen. Could you repeat those, honey, or you disconnected your phone?
Okay, it says express wonder and curiosity about the world by asking questions, solving problems, and designing things.
Okay, that designing would be the tactile part. Okay, go ahead, honey.
And I had also said that they will show an awareness of changes that occur in oneself and the environment. So the objectives will be that students have a basic knowledge of metamorphosis. Students will have basic knowledge of different types of animals. Students will learn to understand the process of a butterfly, and the student will understand sequential order.
Perfect, but stop for a minute, honey. Instead of understand the process, what are you going to use? The word what?
Will understand the metamorphosis.
The stages. The stages of butterfly. They go through stages, right?
Yes.
So process is okay, but because let's use stages because it's more commonly used. All right, sweetie, but it's good. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So some of the materials that are needed, a copy of the Hungry Caterpillar, color construction paper, markers or pens, pictures of butterflies, frogs, and starfish, a TV/smart board, and color pencils. So here we're going to start the slides with the learning activities. So the teacher will explain to the students what metamorphosis is. Right there, I have the definition, a kid-friendly definition of metamorphosis. So
I forgot age. What age are we teaching this to? I forgot.
First grade.
Good. Perfect.
So metamorphosis is the process some animals go through to become adults. The teacher will ask the students about the physical changes they have experienced. So for example, a child can say, oh, I've grown taller within the last couple months, or my hair is growing longer, or my voice is changing. That's just some things to have the children think about.
Very good connection, yes.
The teacher will show pictures of animals that experience metamorphosis. So frogs and tadpoles, caterpillars and butterflies, and grasshoppers. The teacher will read the very hungry caterpillar to the children. The teacher will ask the students questions about the story. What type of food did the caterpillar eat? What type of house did the caterpillar make? And what type of insect did the caterpillar turn into? The teacher will give the students art supplies to make a butterfly. While the students are making their butterflies, the animated film will be shown in the back or on the smart board. Break the students into groups and have them act out the process of a butterfly or stages of a butterfly. And the student, I accidentally wrote that twice. So yeah. So accommodations and modifications. So while watching the animation, we will have the video with auto description and subtitles on. So something I just currently learned with being an RA at the Nest, that we have a student here. We did a movie night and we have a student here who is vision impaired. And she taught me what auto description is. So auto description, it will describe what is going on in the video for students that.
Nice. That is very nice. You know, I've been hearing that on Channel 5. I don't have cable, so turn on Channel 5, and I thought for a while I wasn't getting it, but then they show and you're able to hear that that part where they're describing. There's a narrator that says whatever changes from, they can hear it, but they can't see it. So if someone walks into the room, they will say, Ariel just walked into the room. And I realize it's because it's accommodating the visually impaired person. So that's really nice.
Yeah. And then lastly, I said having someone there to help the student create the butterfly if they need help. So assessments and evaluations, ask the student questions, have the students demonstrate the metamorphosis process. All right, and that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, so again, all of you walk back, do the crosswalk and do it. Yes, I did this. Yes, it said in the standard the objectives and they are all connected, and this is where in my lesson plan I did it. To get used to doing this every time someone gives you a lesson plan to do, and you will be getting numerous lesson plans to do. Okay, so write these notes that I'm telling you and revisit them. Thanks, Ariel. And let's see if Yessie, are you ready?
Let me try again. I think I got it. Sorry.
Not a problem. I gotta get her out of here. I'll make myself the host again because it's gonna create a little bit of problem. Let me get Ariel out. I don't want to make you a host, honey. I want to make you a co-host. I think you're okay. Wait, let's withdraw co-host presentation and then make a co-host. I think now you won't have a problem.
Okay.
Try yes. Do you see where it says share? You see?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure why it's not sharing.
Can someone help her if you have a desktop, you said, right?
Yes. It's on my laptop.
Okay, if you have it and you want to present it, just put on your camera. That could be another way right now, because I know you have your lesson plan.
Let me try.
I'm not sure why it's not sharing.
Why don't you just, do you mind putting on your camera and showing us what you're doing, hon? Maybe you can explain it to us that way.
Yeah, I can just read it off.
But we need your camera.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I know you have your lesson plan, so that's perfect. Go ahead.
Is that fine?
Yes, we can see you, and if you can show us what your lesson plan is all about.
Okay. My lesson plan is an active cube lesson plan. The age grade is preschool, and the curricular area is physical. The learning objectives will have the children be able to experience gross motor skills. They'll be able to learn new stretches, and they'll be able to learn more body movements. And my Illinois Early Learning Standards is to demonstrate physical and control of large and small muscles, engage in active play using gross and fine motor skills, achieve and maintain a health enhancing level of physical fitness, and to participate in activities to enhance physical fitness.
Okay.
The materials are the paper with workouts on each side of the cube, an open area where each student will have enough room to do the activity. And the objectives, the children would be asked different activities they can do inside and outside. All the children and the teacher will gather in a big circle in an area where there is enough physical space to be done. The teacher will discuss the rules of the activity, for example, to keep their hands to themselves, discuss the different types of exercises on the cube, do different types of stretches before doing the lesson plan activity. Each child will be able to learn how to take turns when they toss the activity cube.
Stop for a minute. Yesenia is doing a lot of what the EdTPA will ask step by step by step. And that's what I want you all to listen to, because, but your teachers will guide you. There are courses that you will be guided on how to do this, but all the stuff Yesenia, and most of you have listed, just to remind you, the step-by-step work, statement by statement will sometimes be required within that lesson. So, and thank you. Go ahead, Yesenia.
And then when the cube lands on a movement, the teacher should show an example of the move if needed.
Instead of should, will show. The teacher will show.
Yeah. And the evaluation, test the children the moves on the cube to see if they remember. Ask them if the movements can be used inside or outside or both. Ask each child their favorite movement on the cube.
Okay, that's checking for understanding. You're asking them to demonstrate that they understood it, right? That's the cognition. Are they doing anything with their hands, any tactile as an activity, or no? No. Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that remember in moving ahead for other lesson plans, always conclude like you just did. You explained how you will assess they understood it. For young children, it's always good to put them to do something, to use the tactile. Remember what I said? As much as you can, teachers, include the 5 senses in your teaching. You know that they were listening, you hope so. They were visualizing because you gave them the visuals, right? You maybe have asked them to act out with their fine and gross motor skills. I needed to know the gross motor skills. You did mention that, right, Yessie? Mm-hmm. All right, so what gross motor skills were they developing and were they using in this class? Again, I'm going to use Yessie's like I did Latoya's. What motor skills? Because you did say that. What were the motor skills? Motor skills are using their feet, their, moving around, jumping, climbing. The fine is using the hands, and
We would do like jumping jacks.
make sure that in the lesson, the execution of your lesson, you're asking them to do that. You see what I'm trying to tell all of you? Make sure that when in your standard you mention something, your supervisors and the listening by Pearson, did she show this or he showed this throughout the execution of the lesson? Otherwise, you only put it there for verbiage. I'm sorry, that's a house phone. I am so sorry. And do you see what I'm saying, students? I'm trying to make you visualize how important it is. If you say that this is what you're going to cover in the standard, you are going to say in the objective. Okay. So in what I try to do, ignore that sound. I cannot get up to take care of it. And so what I would like you to understand is go back always. Look at the standard you chose. And you did choose, all of you chose correct standards. Beautiful. Make sure that everything that standard said, you've addressed it in the teaching of your lesson. And then, of course, your objectives will say, and they will be able to use their gross motor skills because they were doing what? Jumping jacks?
Yes.
Through the jumping jacks, students will be using their gross motor skills. That's a way of expressing it. Students will use their gross motor skills by doing the jumping jack. I want to see that you're connecting your standards. This for all of you. Your standards with your objectives and the execution of your lesson. And what was the other thing I said, teachers? Ensure that your tactile, all senses are touched upon during that lesson. They may not be able to taste it, right? Because you don't want to bring them to taste stuff, but they can speak of it. And so they saw it, they heard it, they saw it, they explained it, and they did it. So that's always ask yourself about that. Am I targeting all that Master has told me? And then you will have a rich lesson plan, I promise you. Okay? Thank you so much for explaining your lesson to us. I'm sorry you couldn't get your...
Yeah, sorry I couldn't share it.
That's okay, that's all right. But you gave us an opportunity for me to explain things. Now let's see if, Mandy, are you ready just to do it the way Yessie did it just now? Mandy?
Mm.
Mandy left us. Mandy, last call for you, please. Okay. So teachers, we have, it's 1 o'clock. I want to go through something very quickly, a chapter with you, since I can't get Mandy online with us. I just want you to all understand that, and it's important, my getting you to do your lesson plans and giving you an extension is fine, as long as it's you for everyone. But once I give a second extension, it wouldn't be fair to all of you, right? I had another day unless somebody was really sick and I got that excuse. So I don't want you to think I'm being mean. I want you to think of the fairness. And because I am modeling for you what I expect you to do with your students, be flexible. But then there comes a time when we have to say, how fair is it to everyone? And we were flexible enough, but there are mitigating circumstances. There will be children who have been sick, who have, think of your students. So that's what we call flexibility and understanding. I just want you to know that I'm very proud of what I'm seeing you do. And before I send you off on vacation, just bear with me. I'm going to share something with you and we'll let you move on. If you cannot see this, let me know. And I need to be able to share it. So you can't see my screen, can you, students? No?
No.
Okay, good. I'm going to close this and I have to go back into your stuff and bring you to a share. 16 word this time. And I have it here. Let's see if I can share this with you. And I will do this, maybe going backwards this way. Can you see it now? Can you see my screen with slides?
Yes. Yeah. Not really. No, not the slides, but we see like the options.
How about now? You see the slides?
Mm-mm.
No? No, okay.
See the files, but not the PowerPoint.
Okay, good. It always makes me have to go back to share. So share.
No.
Yeah, to do- How about now? Yes.
There we do. Yeah.
It always takes 2 times. Maybe that's what happened to our presenters today that couldn't share. You know, you go back, you get out of share, go back in. So it happens to me all of the time. Today we're going to talk about maximizing learning through movement and some of your lesson plans that were said today. So we talk about motor abilities and how we integrate areas such as cognitive development. For them, the cognition, remembering, okay, recognizing comes with them understanding and having the concept. So then it gets into their cognitive domain. I says here that research in the brain, and I'm not going to read this to you. I'm just going to give you an overview of what it's saying. The portion of when a child is playing, a lot of, if they are healthily allowed and given opportunities, they are supposed to be moving. Their joints, their bodies are going, and without that movement, if they sit like Miss Mester, like Junie Mester does so much right now with this pandemic in front of a computer. I am grown, I'm 70 years old. Children cannot be doing this. You know, even you at your young age should not be sitting constantly in front of a screen. But the opportunity to have them move around is your responsibility. It must be. It's part of their growth development. And they learn and they understand by you giving them those activities that we even talked about in some of the lessons today. So what we want to do is the movement exploration that you must do is even when they're solving problems, let them do it by moving. Let's say this, let's solve a problem. What comes before 4? They don't understand the concept of before. So I'm going to line up children and I will have 4 children and I will name them, I will number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and they'll have their little tags on. And I'm going to say to number 4, how many or what numbers came before you? And they will look and they say 1, 2, and 3. What am I doing? I'm having them act it out. It's called the realia. It's bringing it to their cognitive domain. Please remember, every time you engage children in activities, use them, have them, or have the real object for them, or the real whatever you're teaching them. Because that's going to give them the movement time also and the understanding as they see, they hear, and they do. Okay? Make sure it's developmentally appropriate, which is your gap. Become aware of their viewpoints and their ideas. Not all of them come with the same previous knowledge. And let them allow them enough time to express themselves. Sometimes we're too eager to cut them off, and that's not fair. In research, it says you ask a question, give them 2 seconds to think about it, and if they don't know how to respond, you say, we'll come back to you, because you don't want to hold the rest of the class back, but neither are you going to embarrass the child. Just say, okay, Tommy, I know you'll be thinking about it. We'll come back to you, so pay close attention, okay? I try to speak to my adult students this way. Why don't we remember that children should be given the same respect, because they are supposed to be respected, just like you respect other adults and other people in our lives, right? Many times in the olden days, it was believed that children did not merit respect. They were spoken to and they had to act upon. That's gone. That is too old-fashioned. It's not acceptable. So let's have them gain confidence and develop their self-esteem as well their fine and gross motor skills. The activities that we want to have them do is make it a part of their everyday life. Every opportunity you have, whether you're reading a story, teachers, or teaching a skill, get them to move, get them to act it out, get them to show. If they have to get up from their desk and move up to do this at the corner and bring it back and give it to Sammy or whatever, the more you get them to move, the more circulation in their of blood is in them, and they're so energetic. And what we're doing is we're so confining them, and they're ready to burst. And then when they act out, we say that the child is acting out, but why? You know, so that's why I always say early childhood teachers, you need to understand how children develop, and that's a lot of the psychology also. And if you haven't taken enough psychology, early 101 and 210 psychology, please make sure that you read about them, okay? Because you have to understand children, their growth, how they think, what they need, etc. So I ask you to please do that. Make sure that dramatic rise in obesity, children are becoming obese because especially with this pandemic, you know, we know they may not have enough nutritional food, but because they're eating constantly and sitting in front of a tablet or a television, it is causing them a lot of harm. They need to have time outside. But the law in Illinois says that if the temperature is below 32, we should not let them out. Some of the older children will say, oh yeah, we're gonna get so hot and sweaty even if it's 25. So us principals would allow them to go out, but the young children should not be allowed to go out. We can do activities in the classroom. So because we do have to adhere to the law. So principals sometimes forget that, right? So don't go arguing with them and telling them we are not supposed to go outside. You know, sometimes you make sure though that the children are so well covered and their little hoodies on, because it can be very hard for them to be out there when it's below 32 degrees. But there is a stipulation for the state of Illinois, especially Chicago Public Schools, that will remind principals that indoor recess must be taken seriously. And of course, 5th and up or 4th and up, depending on the age group, they can be out for 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, this is incidental teaching as a matter of fact. So the time for active play indoors is important. We all know that. And so we have give them the opportunities to repeat, to practice, and to refine their motor skills. Some of them are going to be a little bit discombobulated because they don't have the gross motor skills. And you watch them as they're stumbling, or they have to, they can't stand on one foot yet, or they can't lift their left foot and stand on the right foot. It's going to come as they develop a little more. You will notice new behaviors. They'll be smiling, they'll be excited, they want to be a part every day of coming to class because you have made it very interesting for them. Their self-esteem or self-concept will profoundly be related to how they're developing. Because when a child feels that he cannot do it and he's constantly reminded that he cannot do it, it may cause his self-esteem to kind of be impacted negatively. We're there to encourage them, okay? There's a variance of gender differences and variation. Boys have more muscle tissue. I don't want to call it ethnicity. I want to call it reality. Physiologically, boys are busy developing their muscles, which will be more than what girls have. We have more fatty tissues because we were created to carry babies if we wanted to or if we could. It does say some research indicate that African American children can walk earlier and are taller. Now, we don't want to be labeling. I have a problem with this. African American children are very, they're runners, but think of how the part of the country they come from. Not all of them are in temperate climates. But it's not only African American children. People who live close to the equator have more time to be outside, to be playing outside, and more importantly, teachers, because this can be a very biased information, which I must bring to your attention. Children who are allowed to play outside and have the capability to, because of weather, not Chicago necessarily, we only get 2 months of nice weather, they tend to develop the gross motor skills a lot better because they're not sitting watching TV all day and they're not indoors during those heavy winter months. So yes, and the more they're out there, the more adept they will become in either becoming runners, gymnasts, even muscle development will be developed faster. So I want you to view this in a less limited way. If I may say so. And Asian infants tend to develop earlier but are smaller than Euro-American babies. Look at that bias there. There are many children today, all ethnicity, that are drinking milk with hormones because cows are given hormones. Yes, and poor families cannot go buy what do you call this kind of food? Help me here. That has no hormones and all that. What do they call them in these
It's organic.
Non-GM organic.
organic? Thank you. I really blur it off my mind because I don't know how organic it is. But truly, the milk that some of our children have been drinking have made them grow faster, develop into womanhood faster. And there is research done on this. Whereas children who used to drink milk like I was drinking when I was growing up, the cows were out there grazing, you know, during that time. And we were getting fresh milk delivered, and my mom would boil the cow milk and make sure that it was truly fully boiled, and then we would drink that. But they were natural. Cows were grazing. Today we're forcing them. The chickens, all this. So I don't want to go into that because it's not a science class, but I just want you to see how biased this can be. They forgot to mention genes within the family. I will address my own. I'm Lebanese, my parents, but I grew up in England and I was born in England, but both my parents, one was taller than the other. So I'm the one that's the shortest. I call it vertically challenged because my siblings took after more like my father and I took after my mother. And I laugh because I always say I'm 5'1", and my husband will always say, no, you're just 5. So it's all in my genes because I grew up out running and playing. I didn't have TV when I was growing up, and it wasn't the times of when I was born, 1950. So the point I'm making is let's stop labeling and think of the things I'm trying to tell you. There are many circumstances that play, the environmental, the genetics that come together to have the development of that, to impact the development of a child. And I think you understand that. So I'm going to pass through this. The fact though remains that boys are slower in having the fine motor skills develop when they're 3 and 4 year olds. You'll see the girls adept at more holding on to a pair of scissors, and as long as they're the safety scissors, cutting in a straight line, where the boys are going to be all over because they're too busy. Their muscles are being developed. But once they reach the age of 6 to 7, they've developed, and girls have a hard time catching up with them in terms of muscle structure. For example, a boy will lift a box at 6 years old and the girl will be struggling. And that's nature. That's how we were made. Okay? So think about that and understand that. We must provide opportunities. I've said that. We must modify our activities and include playground activities as long as weather permits. But we can also do this in the classroom. We talk about the motor skills and development, the heredity, which I already mentioned. That's the genetics, the genes, and the environment. And I'm not going to continue to, I don't read PowerPoints, but you know what I'm saying. What are the experiences in their life? Where did they grow up? Again, the closer you are to the equator, the more warmth you have, and children are outdoors even up to 8 o'clock at night. It's still clear and warm. So think of where these children grew up, etc. Okay. So we're going to now look at motor skills movements. So the large bodies, we talked about that. I'm almost going to bear with me. I'm bringing this down so we can move through this very quickly. The spatial awareness, the relationship in space, I've talked about that. You need to use children, objects, etc. Toonie Master is in front of Yessie, Ariel is behind Toonie, so we need that spatial awareness, and they have a hard time with that. Who is in front of Toonie, who is behind Toonie, who is in front of Ariel, and etc. Who came first, who is before, who is after, that's spatial. You need to understand, we take it for granted. Children really don't know that unless you constantly review it with them. What better way than to using the realia? At your desk or the center table, you have put apples, pears, grapefruit. So you want to say, okay, in linear, in the line that we just made, as we stand in front, what is in front there? Apples. What is the last? What is behind the grapefruit? What is in the middle? And then you use children to demonstrate it. You line them up vertically or horizontally, and then you have them practice spatial. If you put your right foot first and left foot back, you have to say which is before and which is after. When you teach the days of the week, it's very confusing. They may know Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But if you ask them what comes before Monday, it is hard unless they have that recognition. Of course, it is Sunday, but they named it, but they don't have that spatial. They don't know what comes before, what after, unless you teach it. We're in the month of March. What month came before March? Well, they would have to go back and say January, February, and even though they say it, they can't remember to definitely to make that identification. So we take things for granted. Let us think like the child does and make it reach their cognitive domain. And this is what it's talking about. Time, structure, rhythm, timing. Make sure that they're marching to the tune. Auditory awareness, do they carry out verbal instructions? For example, I'd like you to take the eraser, Latoya, and if you walk to the front of the classroom, place it on my desk and come back to your seat. There are 3 different things that she has to do, but if she's 2 years old, she won't be able to do the 3 at one time. So you give one single instruction. For the 3-year-old, maybe they'll be able to do 2, and for, of course, the 4-year-old, they'll be able to handle all 3, as long as there's simple instructions. The DAP is important. Developmentally appropriate practice is what we're talking about. So as a change and the of the body, and this includes such skills as walking. You know that the child at 1 year old that's already learned to walk will eventually be running. Toddlers don't know how to walk anymore. They just run, and they can run into a wall. They're constantly jumping and climbing because distance means nothing to them. If they're on the table, they will jump down to the floor, not realizing they could get hurt because that distance is something they don't understand. They love to hop, they love to skip. They're not hyperactive. They are supposed to be moving that way, because if they sit quietly at a toddler's age, then you have something to worry about. Okay. Any movement that requires a degree of balancing, they have to be at a certain age. They can stand on one foot only after they're 3 or 4 years old. So don't put them to do that. They will wobble if you ask them. Everything must come according to gap. They must be able to throw and catch. The distance of which they will throw depends. And of course, it'll underhand, not overhand, until they become a little older. And they love to kick. That's a very easy, even a 1.5-year-old can kick a ball and enjoy doing it. Might fall in the process, but that's also a very good gross motor skill activity. And then remembering that motor movement and experience of children have to recall and rehearse their skills are important. You go over it and over it. Simple skills before more complex skills. We teach the simple and then lead into the more complex. And I hope this is making sense to you as a review of what I heard in some of your lessons today. We focus on fine and gross simultaneously. You don't have to separate them all of the time. But if you're outside in the playground, you know that a lot of the gross motor skills will be taking place. The kindergarten will be walking on a balance beam that's on the floor, at the level of the floor. Don't raise it because you're going to have accidents. You draw a line, and that's considered the balance beam for them. You draw a vertical line or a horizontal and see how straight they will walk. Test it. You will see the girls can do it a lot easier than the boys when they're 3 and 4 year old, and even 5-year-olds. So it's a fun activity to watch, and it's extremely creative, and use a theme to make it purposefully, whether they're listening to the music or they're marching or whatever, connected to a specific theme. And here we go, as you ask yourself, answer the sex role stereotype questions, which I was very upset about, not just sex role, but ethnicity roles, and be very careful about how you read and not critique. Never ever take everything as the sole that you must interpret it the way an author puts it. Be critical, be analytical, and then discard what you believe is, it's kind of biased here. And in this day and age, we have a lot of biases, yes? So I want you to think critically and be very careful not to be too ostentatious. Just make sure that you say, you know, maybe that was good for one time in way past 20 years, 30 years ago, but this is not the good. In terms of genetics and environment, we know clearly that the impact on any human being is where after you're born, the postnatal stages, the genes are now met with the environment and they intertwine to create or to not create, but to develop that person. And we want to make sure of that, okay? So we want to talk about the equipment that you will use, make sure that they're safe. Never, ever allow children to, I'm gonna disconnect that. I'm sorry.
Hello, please leave a message after the tone.
You know, I'm very sorry. I have a house phone as well as the cell, and it bothers me sometimes. But again, materials are supposed to be, and you check your outdoor equipment when you take your children and everything, of course. Make sure that if they need to be lifted on the equipment and lift it back down. Keep your eyes. I tell children I have eyes all around me and they look around my head to see if I'm telling the truth. And then I laugh and I say, no, I can see everything you do wherever you're at. And make sure you keep your eyes for them, open for them, because you don't want the child to fall and get hurt under your watch. Never, you don't want them to, but under your watch, you can be asking for a lawsuit. So again, all this stuff we're going to be watching for, like I said, the schedule, make sure that you follow your schedules, participate with them as you're supervising them and encouraging them, and make sure that you have a variety of activities and limit them to a short period. Give children opportunity again to practice and refine the skills that they have. And young children spend most of their days using their bodies to play and learn. Do we want to restrict them? Planning for the physical self is challenging and fun. We never want to restrict these babies from using their gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Just keep in mind their safety and security. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this chapter and that you see how it's tied into your lessons and your lesson plans. Any questions from this semester?
That was chapter 11.
Yes, it was. And you all have the slides. You have all these slides. And remember, I go through it because I know it by heart, but also even if I didn't, I would have had to study every slide, because the last thing I ever want any student to do is read from a PowerPoint. You put the PowerPoint out let me think of what I'm saying here. A PowerPoint is used for the audience to look at, to be able to follow what you're saying in your own words, but you do not ever read a PowerPoint. Please remember that, because that is the most ineffective way of teaching, and it is really going to give you a very good grade. Adults do that, and it is the most irritating situation. And but I'm not here to educate people who already are in the profession. I'm here to help you. I'm sorry, students, to help you not commit that mistake for even for your other classes. Okay, learn that slide so well that you can move your eyes away from it and let people watch it as a resource for you are talking, just like I tried to model for you. Do we have any other questions for me? Any questions for me? Mandy, Latoya, Evie, Jerson, Sierra, Diana, Yesenia, Vicky, Area. Did I not call somebody? Okay. Latoya?
Yes.
Want to ask something?
No.
Okay. Students, I want to wish you a very, very happy week. I will not give you assignments. When you come back, then I will be posting more assignments for you that will be meaningful, not just time to waste your time and keep you busy. Activities will not come in. I will cover the rest of the chapters for you, but whatever activity I give you will be meaningful to put in your toolbox. If you don't have any questions for me, I will let you go and start enjoying for the next 10 minutes.
We don't meet next week, do we?
No, you're off. That's your week off. You're Yay, go and enjoy it, okay? It might be a nicer weather, and even if you go to use your jogging or your walk, safe wherever you go, but try to forget computers and that's why I give you enough time to do your work. Mandy, you're not back yet, right? Mandy? Okay. Students, thank you for being a part of my life in the semester. Listen, I am enjoying. Hopefully, I am getting across some strategies and effective practice when you become a teacher. With that said, have a wonderful afternoon. Okay?
Thank you, Professor. Have a great spring break.
And you too. Please get some rest. Please get some rest. You deserve it. Okay? You're gonna come back to almost the last run of your course. Okay?
Take your own advice.